Welcome back to talkSPORT Driving, the home for all things motorsport on talkSPORT. If you haven't already, please do like, share and subscribe. Today I'm thrilled to say that I am joined by Moto3 rider Scott Ogden. Scott, thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time. First things first, for our audience who maybe haven't watched so much of you or haven't seen a little bit about your season in Moto3, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and this season so far for you?
Yeah, of course. First of all, thank you for having me. So, yeah, at the moment I'm racing in the Moto3 category with a CIP Green Power, and yeah, it's my fourth year in Moto3 now. It's been a tough 3 years before this, but yeah, we're finally getting some good results this season. We're sort of in the top seven, eight now every weekend. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. And in the past, I started with motocross, and then I moved over to tarmac racing when I was 12 years old. So, yeah, I haven't actually been doing it tarmac racing for that long compared to some of the people I'm racing against. But yeah, I love it. I love bikes. I was on a bike at 3 years old, so yeah, it's in my blood, and yeah, that's about everything so far in my career.
And where did that passion for motorbikes come from growing up? I think you mentioned there that you first rode a motorbike or on a bike at the age of 3. So where did that passion for motorbikes and racing come from when you were growing up?
My dad used to race bikes in the past, and he did the Isle of Man, the Manx, which is now I think it's called the Classic TT. So yeah, the same course as the Isle of Man TT. So yeah, it sort of was in me from the start. He wanted me on a bike when I was super young, and at the start it was pretty much a hobby. So we didn't really take it fully seriously. We had a good time. It was motocross, so it's very different to what I'm doing now, but. Yeah, then eventually we sort of realized, okay, I'm not that bad, and we started to take it a little bit more serious. And he pushed me a lot and taught me everything I know. So yeah, it's all down to my dad, really.
And outside of your dad, were there any particular riders or anyone in particular in the world of motorbikes and motorsport that you really grew up watching and idolising when you were growing up?
Yeah, so for me it was Álex Marquez. He's in MotoGP at the moment, but he was a super big inspiration, mainly because he was in his brother's shadow a little bit. I kind of like the underdog, and he was sort of such a good rider in himself, but he was never really like published the same as Mark, because Mark was doing such a good job and is still doing such a good job. But now he's finally got to the front of MotoGP just behind his brother. So yeah, he's a super big inspiration because mentally it's quite tough to be in the shadow of somebody else. So yeah, I look up to him a lot.
Have you ever got to meet him or the Marquez brothers and get a little bit of insight and a little bit of information out of them?
Yeah, it's they're actually very friendly people. They come train close to where I live in Spain, so I've trained with them a few times. It's difficult because they're still racing. They've still got a job to do. So on the race weekends, we don't get to see them much. But yeah, I've spoke to them a few times, and they're really great people and happy to try and help everybody.
And Mark has had an incredible season in MotoGP. They've both been fighting it out at the front during the season. What have you made of the season that Mark and his brother have had this year?
Yeah, Mark's doing a super job at the moment. It's crazy because he's come through a lot in the past few years, and then last year he moved from Honda after being there for so long to go to a satellite Ducati team, and now he's been given a chance on the best team at the moment, and yeah, he's doing an incredible job. I think for everybody out there, it's pretty soul destroying because he's playing with them a little bit. He's managing different situations and still winning every race. So I think mentally he's more than stronger than ever, and yeah, it's pretty cool to see him and be in the paddock at this moment when he's doing it.
And in terms of yourself, there's such a fine margin in motorbike racing between having a great race and crashing out. What sort of mindset does it take to be a motorbike rider and a racer, considering all the dangers that come with it and how low you guys are to the ground when you're cornering as well?
Yeah, it's quite crazy actually, because actually when you're on the bike it doesn't feel so fast. So the moment you feel that it's actually really fast is the moment you hit the ground. So yeah, it's one of those things where the perception of speed isn't there. So for us it's not really a big fear level actually. So it is cool, and the margins are super close. For example, I had quite a difficult weekend the last weekend. in the race, but it's like I'm losing 0.1, 0.2 to the fastest guys in the world a lap. It's nothing. You can't even do that on a stopwatch. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy how close we all are now and how fast everybody's getting. But yeah, I don't really think about the dangers of it actually, because for me, riding a bicycle in the street seems more scary than than riding the motorbike.
A lot of people say that some motorbike races or some motorbike races have to be a little bit crazy in order to go into it. And you look at, we talked about Mark Marquez earlier, and the amount of accidents he's had and the amount of surgeries he's had over the last couple of years, and how he's bounced back from it. What would you say to that? There's some people who say that you've got to be a little bit crazy in order to go into motorbike racing.
Yeah, definitely from the outside, I think like breaking a bone is quite a scary thing for a lot of people, and the fact that we do it pretty regularly is crazy. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where if you haven't done it, you don't really know what it feels like to ride a motorbike, and riding a motorbike is like nothing else. The speed you go in, the overtakes, being so close to the other riders. I think the sport itself is very unique, and it's one of those things where there is very big negatives in the sport, and it's a shame a lot of the things that are happening with the injuries. Sadly, also some people are losing their lives at the moment, and it is difficult. But I think the riding and the enjoyment that we all get doing it definitely outweighs the negatives of the sport.
And we're speaking after the Czech Grand Prix. How would you assess your season so far?
Yeah, it's been a season that's sort of like not the results haven't quite shown how good we've been. It's been a big step actually from the last three season. In 10 races, I've already got more points than I have in the last seasons in the whole year. So yeah, it's a big step from struggling a lot, but I feel like we definitely have potential to make another step. We have a test tomorrow in the Czech Republic to try fine tune a few things. We don't really get much track time on the race weekends, so we need to try get as many laps tomorrow and try just make one step before the second half of the year. But I definitely think we've had a good year, a better year than a lot of people expected me to have. I always have high expectations, so I will always want more. I want to win. I want to be on the podium every week. But I definitely think that it's coming soon, and we're going in the right direction.
And recently in Germany, you got your first pole position. Although the race didn't go the way you would have wanted it to, how much of a proud moment was that for you to get your first pole position in Moto3?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It's one that goes on the record books. It stands with me for the rest of my life, which is nice because nothing else really matters. Other okay, race wins are more important, but pole position is kind of the next thing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. The race, okay, yeah, I crashed, but I led a bit of the race. I was in the front group the whole time. So yeah, I think we're definitely taking steps forward. I'm a rider that prefers to crash than go a little bit slower. So yeah, it's a big deal for me, and it's a big deal for my family and all the people that put a lot into it because yeah, it's a long, tough road to get to the top of the sport, and it's nice for everybody to have a little bit of a reward.
What were the emotions inside the helmet when your team come over the radio and say, "Scott, you've done it, it's pole position"? What was going on inside your head? What were the emotions?
Yeah, it's pretty special moment. Actually, we don't have team radios in MotoGP, but we have it on the dash. We get like little text messages. It's they write on their computer, like on Instagram, and you get a text message, so you see exactly where you are, what you've done, and we sort of have like codes for what we because you can't put exactly everything, so we have little codes, and the data girl she put one code which is mapping eight, and we always have a joke that if she puts that, she thinks I'm a legend, which is quite funny in the team. So yeah, she put that on. So it was pretty special because the team they have high expectations, and to also make them happy means a lot.
And there was a nice clip of fellow Brit Jake Dixon, who races in Moto 2, reacting to your pole position. How nice is that for you?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool, especially for the English fans, because I think it's the first time in 9 years maybe that we've had a Brit in two classes on pole position, which is cool because the Brits are struggling a little bit at the moment to get to the top of the sport, and Jake's doing a very good job. So it's really nice to see that someone of his caliber is taking interest also in me, it's hard because he has so much going on in his weekends that we can't really speak so much. But yeah, it's nice that he was watching, and he's also doing such a good job. So I'm happy for him.
And you also had a strong qualifying performance at the Italian Grand Prix too last month. So that's two strong qualifying performances in the last couple of months that we've seen from you. How much confidence does that give you going into the rest of the season, knowing that you do have the pace to compete with those at the front if you can knit it all together?
Yeah, no, for sure. I've got the pace. I've got the overall speed, as people say. I just need to fine tune a little bit in the Moto3 group because the group is very aggressive. You have to take a lot of risks, so I need to sort of improve that. Being not being with them for 3 years is difficult, so I'm trying to take one step at a time and keep learning from them. But yeah, we're definitely getting there. I think the main thing was okay, the pole position was in the rain, and normally British guys are good in the rain, but the other front row was in the dry, which meant a lot more to me because, yeah, I was one of the fastest guys in the dry on that weekend, and yeah, it shows that we're definitely going in the right direction.
And you mentioned about you heading for testing over there in the Czech Republic. So looking ahead into the rest of the season, what's the aim for you now between now and the end of the season?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's difficult because Moto3 is so close. You can win the race, you can also finish 10th and be within 1 second. But yeah, the aim has to be to try get a couple podiums before the season runs out. Yeah, that's got to be the aim because you got to keep moving forward. You got to keep trying to stay at the front and try to show yourself that you deserve to be here and yeah, that you can win races in the following year.
And I guess sort of going into next season and sort of continuing that theme, do you sort of hope that we're seeing you competing at the front and maybe even competing for the title in the coming years?
Yeah, for sure. I have in my head that I want to do another year in Moto3 before going up to Moto2. So hopefully we can take a step in the last 10 races for help us be at the front and fighting for the championship next year because to go to Moto2 you have to really be in the top 4 or 5 in the championship. So yeah, I think the team that I've got around me can definitely help me do that. So we just got to see it's sort of that time of year where everyone's talking to teams trying to get the contract sorted for next year. But I have a lot of faith in the team I have at the moment. They're a special group of people, so hopefully we can sort something out and we can fight for a championship next year.
And long term, what would the aim be? Would the dream be to maybe get into MotoGP one day?
Yeah, for sure. I think okay, I want to win world titles in Moto3. I want to win world titles in Moto2, but I'll trade them in for sure for a MotoGP spot one day because that's the pinnacle of the sport. The best in the world are in that class. So yeah, I've got to aim for that. I've got high expectations, high aims, and I think that one day in the next 5 or 6 years, hopefully we can sit on a MotoGP bike and ride with the best in the world.
That would be cool. What would it mean to you if you were to get there one day?
Yeah, no, it's pretty special. I'm still hoping that I arrive in the era where there's riders that I've watched since I was a kid still in MotoGP. I know they're starting to fade out a little bit, but yeah, it would be special to line up with a Marquez or a Joan Mir, Quartararo. So hopefully we can do something special in the next few years to hopefully show people that they should sign me for MotoGP in the future.
And lastly, really appreciate your time today. How hopeful are you that the likes of yourself and Jake Dixon are inspiring the next generation of riders from the UK to take up the sport? Because it would be great to see a British rider in MotoGP again one day.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think now it's a difficult moment for English people in this sport because there's not so many. So to have still 2 or 3 Brits in the paddock that are fighting the way through because now it's coming into a sport where it's quite expensive and it can be difficult. So to have a few guys there and kids looking up to us, I hope that they keep going, keep trying, even when it's difficult days, and hopefully that we'll have a few more in the paddock in the coming years.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time, Scott. Really, really appreciate it. Wish you the best of luck going into next season, and hopefully we see you in MotoGP one day.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I hope to.